Hello, friends, and welcome back to another virtual story time with Miss Liz. Today, we're reading a story about another trailblazing person in history. Today's book is from the Little People, Big Dreams series about Rosa Parks. This book was written by Lisbeth Kaiser and illustrated by Marta Antelo. Let's see what we're going to learn about Rosa in this book. Little People, Big Dreams, Rosa Parks. Rosa grew up near Montgomery, Alabama, with her mother, brother, and grandparents. She was very little and very brave, and she always tried to do what was right. When she was young, Rosa's grandparents told her stories about slavery, when Black people weren't free to live like other people. Slavery was over, but times were still hard for Rosa and her family. Black people were treated very badly and told they were not equal to white people. And we know that this is not true, but back then it was the norm, and it was not right. Every day, Rosa watched the school bus go by, taking white children to their big school. It didn't stop for her or her friends. She had to walk a long way to the one-room school that was just for Black children. This is just one example of the inequality that took place during that time. Rosa knew this wasn't right. She was just a regular person, just as good as anyone else. Lots of times, she had to make sure that other people knew it too. When Rosa grew up and got a job in the city, she couldn't use the same doors or elevators or bathrooms or water fountains as white people. If you look in this picture closely, you can see this water fountain is labeled colored, and this water fountain is labeled white. And this was one way that segregation happened. She could ride the bus, but she had to sit in the back. Her life was full of rules that she knew weren't right. And as you may know, a bus is the place that Rosa's most well-known action took place. Let's see. Rosa fell in love with a man named Raymond who was trying to change the rules to be more fair and equal. Soon, Rosa started working too, trying to get more rights for Black people and help for those who were treated badly. She worked day after day, even when it seemed like nothing would change. On her way home from the city one day, a bus driver told Rosa to stand up so a white person could take her seat. She was sick of rules that she knew were wrong. She thought, enough. And that day, she said no. She was not going to stand up and give her seat to this white person. She took a stand by taking a seat. Rosa was taken to jail. Can you believe it? She went to jail all for trying to sit on a seat on the bus. This was the reality of segregation and an idea of how unequal things were during Rosa's time. They still are not great today. Rosa wasn't scared in jail because she knew that what she was fighting for was right. When Rosa came home that night, she talked with her friends and family about what to do. She decided to keep fighting no matter how hard it would be. Black people all over the city heard what happened to Rosa. They thought, enough! Rosa inspired them to stop riding the buses until the rules changed. So they walked to school and to work and to the store in all kinds of weather. They held a bus boycott, refusing to use the bus until the rules were changed and it was fairer to everyone. Rosa traveled the country from New York to San Francisco to convince other people to join the fight. And finally, after 1 year, the Supreme Court, that's the highest court in the United States, decided that treating Black people differently from white people on buses was wrong. The rules were going to change. And this illustration says, in the Alabama Journal newspaper, bus segregation is knocked out. And here's a picture of Rosa, the person who started it all. It was no longer safe for Rosa to live in Alabama. Unfortunately, people who did not agree with her were a threat, and she had to move. She moved to Detroit and fought for fair schools, jobs, and houses for Black people. She fought for voting rights, women's rights, and the rights of people in prison. And these are all things that are still important today. When Rosa was an older woman, she was given awards and told she was a hero, but she knew who she was. A regular person, just like anybody else, just as good as anyone else. And she still had work to do. And that, my friends, is the end. If you take out this book for yourself or buy a copy, you can see a timeline of Rosa Parks' life with a lot more information about how things really happened. And you can see that there are many more good books, these and more, in the Little People, Big Dreams series. For now, though, that is the end. I hope that you enjoyed and were inspired by this book about Rosa Parks. I thank you all for joining me for another virtual story time, and I will see you next week for more great books. Thanks for watching.